Ubis von Tubis, I'm back. We got some stuff to talk about. Really game heavy this time around because I made a bunch of, well, for the most part, completions. So we'll get right into it. But we're kicking things off with the movie, the only movie of the batch. All the rest are games. And the movie in question is Wonder Woman 84. Awesome movie. I really liked the first Wonder Woman movie starring Gal Gadot, but this one I liked even better. So it starts off with this kind of cutscene back to when Diana was a young girl on Themyscira, and she went up in this competition against, when she was just a little girl, against full-blown Amazons, and almost won, but kind of got a little cocky and got knocked off her horse, but then rushed to catch up, but cheated a little by taking a shortcut, and it looked like she was about to win, but I can't remember if it was her mom that was the queen of the Amazons that kind of stopped her and said, no, you're not winning this event because you cheated, right? So you have to work hard and be honest about everything, right? So then it pans forward to 1984, the year 1984, and maybe that's why I like this movie a lot, because it was, I grew up in the 80s, so, I have a real fondness for the 80s and 90s. So whenever I see, like when Transformers, the Bumblebee movie was back in time, Captain Marvel was back in the 80s and shit. So I love it when they do retro stuff and kind of set that scene for the 80s or 90s. Yeah, Captain Marvel was more 90s, but the other one, Bumblebee, was in the 80s. So Diana is working at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., and this new arrival, a geologist named Barbara Ann, I think, played by Kristen Wiig, who I fucking love, shows up, and they kind of, she's the shy, mousy little thing, and Diana's like, okay, she's a little odd, but whatever. And soon enough, the two of them are asked to kind of evaluate these stolen artifacts that actually Wonder Woman made a bust on. And there's this artifact called the Dream Stone, I think it is, that is rumored to grant its holder one wish. So Barbara Ann and Diana both hold this Dream Stone, and they both think about what they want, and so Barbara Ann's this clumsy, kind of, like I said, mousy, doesn't get noticed kind of woman. She wants to be more like Diana, who is so confident and powerful and gorgeous, right? Whereas Diana wishes for her former love, Steve, back, who died in the first Wonder Woman movie back in the war or whatever. So all of a sudden, Steve comes back in another man's body, and meets up with Diana, and she's like, what the hell, the stone is real, right? And then Barbara Ann starts noticing she's all confident all of a sudden, she's real capable, and the guys are paying attention to her, and she's just this totally different person. But the wishing the Dream Stone or whatever comes with a price. It gives you what you want, but it'll take something away from you. So Wonder Woman Diana starts to gradually lose her powers, and Barbara Ann starts to lose her humanity. Well, this is all going on. There's this businessman named Max Lord who seems to be really popular and powerful and stuff, but he's actually failing. His business is going in the red, and things are about to go completely to shit. He knows of this Dreamstone and weasels his way into Barbara's affections after finding out its location, and he eventually accesses the Dreamstone and makes the wish that he becomes the Dreamstone. So he is basically able to get people, manipulate them into wishing for what they really want, but for what he really wants, right? And then so what they wish for benefits him, but then he's also able to take something from them, and so he just starts to take over the world and cause all this chaos. But in the end, all the chaos he's caused, and he does this broadcast, he gets everybody in the world who's watching to wish for stuff, and it just causes worldwide pandemonium, and nations are starting to launch missiles and go to war and shit, and there's chaos and violence in the streets, and Diana has to appeal to his humanity as he watches his son kind of lost out in the chaos, in danger, right? So the only way things can go back to normal is if everybody renounces their wish. So in the end, well, I won't spoil it for you, but you probably can guess what happens. Awesome movie. I really enjoyed it. I love the first one, like I said, but that one took it to new heights. Next up, on the PS4, Taxi Chaos. This is developed by this was, I think, 2020 or no 2021. This is a very new release. GS2 Games, independent release, basically just a rehash of Crazy Taxi. Remember that game back in the day? It was an awesome game. This is like not nearly as good. It was fun and it was cheap, but didn't really keep you interested for long. Basically has 3 modes. Arcade mode, where you go out, you pick up passengers, deliver them, earn your fare and get a rating from them, and then you're on the clock. There's a timer at the top of the screen. When you deliver people successfully, you get a bit more time added to the clock. So you just make as many deliveries as you can within that time limit and try and set the highest score. Pro mode is the exact same mode, except in arcade mode there's always an arrow pointing you to the destination. Pro mode takes that arrow away, so you have to know the city, and the city's based on New York City. So you have to know where you're going, so it becomes 1,000% harder. And then the third mode is free roam. Free roam just allows you to explore the city at your leisure and do whatever you want. There's 2 cabbies in the game. There's Vinny and there's Cleo. And along the way you can unlock different taxi cabs with different speeds and capabilities and maneuverability and all that shit. And you can jump in your taxi as well, so you can reach heights on top of buildings and stuff like that. And there's collectibles to pick up along the way. When you pick up a certain passenger, you will unlock their quest line, where you have to collect a certain number of power bars or whatever. So there's a bit of stuff to do in the game, but the formula gets pretty old after a short time, right? Because it's just the same thing over and over again. There's not really much keeping it going. Like I said, it is fun, but get it for cheap like I did, because it's not a game that you're going to be playing for months or even weeks at a time. It's going to be a pretty quick playthrough. Next up on the PST, what's that one? PS2, Moto GP07. This is a motorbike, like a super motorbike racing game. I think it's the 5th in the Moto GP series, and this was released in 2002, I think. I've never had I don't think I have a motorcycle racing game. I have played a dirt bike racing game on the PS4, that free download for the PS Plus a while back, which was really fun. And I have a dirt bike one on the Switch as well, but this is the first like actual racing bike game that I've had, I think. And I just wanted, it was cheap at GameCycle. It was like $2 or something like that. And it was made by Capcom, so I thought, it's got to be great, right? And it was okay. I liked it, but I didn't love it. So it basically is the 2017 season of whatever the racing bike circuit is. And so it features all the drivers, all the tracks. You can have, I think you can have the normal type of standard modes, like a quick race, time trial, that kind of shit. But the most... the mode I always go for is in any kind of sports or racing game is the season mode. So I played through a 2017 season with I don't know anything about bike racing, so I just picked kind of the bike I liked best, the color scheme and the look of the bike. I picked that driver, raced through the season, won the cup, and that was all. It's kind of like Taxi Chaos, not nearly as generic as that, but the same thing. Once you've played through a season, there's not really much more to play it for, sort of thing. There's not really any unlockables or content to keep you going on, at least nothing significant. So I believe there is another mode called Extreme Mode, where you can mod your bike out and equip different parts and stuff like that, but that's just too much work and too much detail for me to go into. In season mode, you can change your bike, but only the look of your bike, the customization on the looks. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the game. The graphics were good, the gameplay was good. It was all around a good game, but it didn't hold my interest like other racing games have over the past. So again, get it cheap if you're gonna get it, but it's a PS2 game, so you're fucking gonna get it cheap, of course. Next up, this game was awesome for the Switch. Yoshi's Crafted World, released in 2019, I think it was. This game is, I believe, the 8th game in the main Yoshi series, and Yoshi's Epic Yarn was the Yoshi game on the Switch we played before this one, and the whole world was made up of yarn. Whereas this one, Yoshi's Crafted World, everything's made up of like construction paper and that sort of thing. And the story behind it is the Yoshis are all living on Yoshi Island, and they have this Dream Stone. No, that was Wonder Woman. Wishing Stone. No, that was also Wonder Woman. Some sort of stone that they all celebrate around, and it has these 5 gems in it, and it's a big thing. But Kamek and Bowser Jr. come and they try to steal this stone for their own purposes, but they don't quite get away with it. And during the ruckus they cause, all the 5 gems in the stone are sent flying off in all directions of the kingdom or whatever the hell place they live in. And you take a Yoshi and you go to get them back. So you fight through all these worlds in a typical kind of format. And at the end of each kind of world, or usually there's 2 or 3 worlds you have to play before you get to a boss battle where you eventually claim the gem. You take the gem back, and you just over the course of the play, you add all 5 gems back and beat down Bowser and Baby Bowser, sorry, and Kamek, and complete the game. So Nintendo games, like the staple Nintendo games like Mario, Mega Man, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, they're all awesome. They're always awesome every time in terms of the look, the feel, the gameplay, the depth, the length. They're always awesome. So, you know, anytime I'm reviewing a Mario or a Yoshi or Donkey Kong or a Mega Man, like I said, you don't even have to guess. The game is good. It's at least really good, if not awesome, you know? So, in this game, again, falls under that whole category. Last up, I didn't finish this game because I got tired of it for the PS2, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I really liked it in theory, but I just found the controls goofy, and it was just, I was getting stuck on the same missions over and over again, and it took me forever, and I just kind of got stale, it got old, I got frustrated, and I was like, you know what, this isn't worth it. This game's probably really long too, and if every fucking mission is going to be like this. But anyways, the story behind it is that this mobster, Tommy something, I think, I can't remember. He gets out of prison after 15 years on a murder charge, and his the kind of guy that he works for, the crime boss that he works for, says, "Okay, I want you to go down to Vice City, and you're going to be there, and you're going to be my guy there, and if your first job is to negotiate this drug deal, right?" It goes wrong, it goes sideways. He loses all the money, he loses all the drugs. So his boss is like, "What the fuck, Tommy? You got to get that shit back or I'm going to come down, I'm going to break your kneecaps, right?" Oh. So your kind of mission in this game is to get that money and those drugs back, but it's this long, drawn-out process. You have to meet contacts and go through all these other missions, you know, as you try and achieve your ultimate goal. It's an open-world game. You can pull people out of their cars, steal their cars as you do in Grand Theft Auto. You can run them over, you can shoot them, you can beat them, whatever you want to do. And yeah, you just go through this open world and in order to complete the storyline and achieve your ultimate goal. But like I said, I didn't, and it got pretty stale. But what I really did like about the game, I like the open world concept in a lot of cases. This one was pretty good. It was set back in the 80s, so the soundtracks were amazing. The look, like, I think there was a lot of inspiration drawn from like the Miami Vice TV show and stuff like that. You know, so it was pretty cool. There was a lot of cool, like I said earlier when I kicked this video off, I love the 80s and 90s. So when a game goes back in time or a movie goes back in time and there's a lot of 80s references, I usually love it, right? So you got that a lot in this game. But unfortunately, I just found the controls were just too, especially when you're trying to manually aim a gun and stuff, the target's all over the place and you can't adjust the speed of it, and it made things so frustrating, and I got just stuck on this one mission. I was like, fuck it, right? So I'm putting her away early. It's one of those games that I always say, well, maybe I'll come back to it once I'm through all my other games, but that never happens because there's always more games to play even once I get through some. You know, I get more. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on Vice City. Cool concept, not the greatest execution. That's the 5 things for today. I'm sure over the Christmas break I'll be home, so we'll probably have a lot more stuff to talk about in the near future. So until then, have a great end of the week.